How do you top your love for your cat? With a cascade of decadent savory gravy over a mouth-watering mousse pâté. Fancy Feast gems. 2 gourmet pâtés in one convenient pack. Simply peel and plate to reveal a pyramid shape that makes eating delightful and pamper her with an experience as extraordinary as she is. Turn the everyday into the extraordinary with Fancy Feast gems.
Wish you could become a morning person? You know the type, up before the sun, early morning runs, first one to the office with donuts and a smile. How do they do it? Easy. With the new Galaxy Watch 8, sleep tracking and personalized insights from Samsung Health help you improve so you can wake up to a whole new you. One who, dare I say it, skips the snooze? It's possible. Train your sleep with Galaxy Watch 8. Learn more at Samsung.com. Requires compatible Samsung Galaxy phone, Samsung Health app, and Samsung account.
For a limited time at McDonald's, get a Big Mac extra value meal for $8. That means 2 all-beef patties, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions on a sesame seed bun, and medium fries, and a drink. We may need to change that jingle.
Prices and participation may vary.
This podcast is supported by FX's English Teacher. Last year's critically acclaimed series returns to follow Evan, Gwen, and Marky as they vie for their students' divided attention. See why Cosmopolitan called its premiere season a masterclass of comedy, while Glamour raved it's the year's funniest and most heartwarming new comedy series. FX's English Teacher, all new Thursdays on FX. All episodes now streaming on Hulu.
This episode is brought to you by Nespresso and Samra Origins by the Weekend Coffee Collection.
Introducing Samra Origins. My collaboration with Nespresso is a connection to my roots, to my mother, Samra. Coffee that hits the right notes. It transports you. Crafted with unique notes and bold soaring flavors. Experience a taste that moves you. Nespresso and Samra Origins.
Discover more at Nespresso.com.
We at Pack Your Knives love to draft, so much so that we decided to draft Top Chef contestants live on the podcast. Drafting is the best, and if you're into fantasy sports, I got a stat for you. Did you know that your chances of winning on Draft are 80% better than on salary cap sites? That's why Draft is my favorite fantasy site. No more getting crushed by the pros. And it's not just me. More than 1 million people that have already downloaded Draft too. Play in a real live NBA draft right now and be done in under 5 minutes. Get paid out the very next day. Drafts are filling every second, so you can join one whenever you want. All new players get a free entry into a real money draft when you make your first deposit. But make sure to use my promo code HEALTHY, HEALTHY, healthy. That's right, play in a real money draft for free just by using my promo code HEALTHY. But it gets even better. Draft is so sure you'll love it that they're even offering Pack Your Knives listeners a money-back guarantee of up to $100. Just search Draft in your app store or go to draft.com and play free right now with promo code HEALTHY.
It's Pack Your Knives. I'm Kevin Arnovitz.
And I'm Tom Haberstroh.
Tonight we watched episode 2 of Top Chef. This is actually episode 3 of Pack Your Knives because we love you more. But tonight was kind of the second elimination. We had a very aggressive quickfire challenge. We got a lot of going on, and I think more than anything, some personality dynamics emerged that I didn't kind of see coming. So that was very interesting. Let's just start it with the quickfire. You want to lay out what happened at the beginning of the episode with the quickfire parameters?
So the quickfire parameters were a mise en place, which is the skills challenge from NBA All-Star Weekend, where you kind of show off your prep cooking. And I guess sous chefs or people who have a history of sous chefs on their resume, I think tend to project well in these sort of competitions. So the first thing was to dice up what was it called? A Bernois?
So no, we had shallots.
Yep.
The chopping of shallots, the peeling of mushrooms, and then the butchering of I believe tenderloin. And
yes,
it was fascinating because shallots are really hard. They're kind of like these Matryoshka dolls. Like you get like a shallot, what you think is a shallot in the grocery, and then you break it open. And guess what? They're like 3 different little onions, and 2 of them are connected by this thin lip. So you're actually having to kind of dissect this thing. So shallots are,
and it's slippery, and like when it slips away from you, you gotta like, it's really hard,
right? And then they make you cry. But it's funny because I think it was our first real emergence of Adrienne.
Yes,
like we knew she had that Le Bernardin credential, but she was doing some chopping.
Yeah, she really showed us something in this episode, and we can get into it later. But I thought that she really had one of the strongest outings for any of the chefs tonight. It started with the chopping. She was incredible with the chopping, and right off the bat, it was clear that Laura, with her backcountry like Alaska, kind of breathe through there a little bit. Were you nervous as someone who drafted Laura, Alaska Laura, who has bears in her fridge? Did you get nervous about the way she was chopping those shallots in the beginning?
Yeah, no, it's just so funny because clearly not everybody can do everything, and Tanya was very funny that she has really not done mise en place at her restaurant. She's got her own shop. That's what she pays these other people to do. And she made light of it. The peeling of the mushrooms looked really difficult, and it was funny because I forget who said it was. We gave the really big guys, and what you realize you needed though are like the little girls from Schindler's List who can put their fingers and polish the inside of the bullet shells, because apparently the dudes were just too big to peel mushrooms, which just looks like the biggest pain in the ass peeling a cremini mushroom.
Have you done that before?
I'm not gonna peel a mushroom.
Me neither.
I'm very aspirational about my cooking. I want to learn to do a lot of things. Tomorrow I move into a house with a steam oven. I'm really excited about that. But damn if I'm ever gonna fucking peel a goddamn cremini mushroom.
Did you catch Tanya when she's like, I haven't done this since I left France in 19...
Exactly. I mean, that's what she pays her staff to do. And then you had like the butchering, which was a very interesting thing. Because for our listeners, there were 14 players tonight, or 16 or 15.
14, I believe. 7 and 7.
2 teams of 7. It was a relay, and one of the teams kind of cleverly had 2 people butchering for the last event rather than 1. So though they entered behind, they were able to catch up. But what happened, Tom?
Slow and steady wins the race, Kevin. The tortoise and the hare. Bruce was very meticulous. He was he weighed the stakes before he put them out, which was obviously a slower move, but the smarter move, because in the end, when Joe Stash sprinted up with the big pan full of meat, they just kept shaking their heads. Nope, this is not the right weight. Nope, this is over. This is under. This is over. This is under. And there goes Bruce, just slowly putting those meats together, and just nails every single one.
Right, they had to be within an ounce of 8, I think. So between essentially 7.01 and 8.99, technically? I think that was the parameter.
It was 20 steaks, yeah. They had to peel clean and slice mushrooms. The burn wasing, the shallots was the first thing, and then they had to trim and portion the 20 steaks. And you know what? Team Blue came away with the W.
And so then they are thrown into, they go from teammates essentially to competitors for this Quickfire challenge. What's on the line? They had immunity, they had $5,000, some provisions from Blue Apron, and essentially, so then they all have to basically use these mise en place elements to create a dish. They were pretty uniform in terms of components, obviously. They played it a little differently. By the way, those were like 7 really good dishes. Yeah,
the thing is, like, what can you make in 8 minutes and 21 seconds? Seriously, 8 minutes and 21 seconds to make a dish. And I get it that they're pre-prepped, but essentially it went with the same thing. The filet, the tenderloin, very rare, with some sort of bourbon sauce and mushrooms. And the onions, or the shallots, obviously are going to go well with that. So I was very happy to see all the bourbon in this dish. As you and I both know, bourbon's fantastic.
You were a use bourbon as marinade kind of guy.
Yes.
And Big Joe, non-mustache Joe, but Big Joe wins the Quickfire. He does a quick marinated tenderloin with shallot, mushroom, and ginger. He's got some peppers going on there. Very Chicago dish. Little beef and pepper. And he wins his immunity.
Yeah, I didn't see that one coming. Like, I thought it was going to be a rare steak, just seasoned well, that was going to win that. But he came out with that, almost like the acidity with the marinated steak. It was very cooked. I didn't see that winning when they were going through the dishes. You kind of in your head when you're watching the dishes go through, you're like, visually, I think I can pick out which one's going to win. And for that one, it was a nice looking dish, but I was kind of surprised that it won. But shouts to Joe Flam. I think you get plus 3 points for that one.
You're the commissioner.
I do believe so. I think you get +3 on that, and then or an extra 2. Was there a top 2 or a top 3 for the Quickfire this time?
There was a top 2 for the Quickfire and a bottom 2 for the Quickfire, but then again, 7 players didn't play.
Yeah, that was really weird to me. What'd you think about that? Because I thought the fact that 7, the whole entire team didn't get to the bottom, even though they were the worst, they didn't get to be in the bottom 2. And I think Rogelio with the broken sauce and Tyler, who was too heavy on the carrot, they both get some penalties there for being in the bottom 2, I guess.
I guess, but again, but at least they were part of the team that won, that got there. Our scoring system is going to need some consultation. We might have to hire counsel. I defer to you. You're too anal as to be dishonest. So I totally trust you. I know you will come up with a sensible solution, even if it screws your team. And this you can do.
All right, I think Rogelio, for that one, they're both going to get, Tyler and Rogelio are both going to get -1 for that.
Remind me who the second place was.
Brother Luck. So, there was, let's see, Brother had the hibiscus mignonette on top of it, which reminded me of Miami, the Mignonette, which is a great oyster bar in Miami. That's right. And, we're not going to talk about it now, but just so the listeners know, we have some strong cilantro takes. And Joe Flam brought the cilantro as the garnish on top of that dish and won with it, but we're going to save that for another episode.
Yeah, I will get into my cilantro issues at some point in this broadcast over the next several weeks. I'm not ready to do it now. I want to wait for the optimal moment to unload on the devil's weed. But we will get there at some point.
Now, my thing here, Kevin, is I feel like these team things, I'm not a fan of the team aspect because it feels like baseball. Baseball's a team sport, but it's really an individual sport masquerading as a team sport. There's not really that much interaction.
Yeah, I will say this. I do enjoy restaurant wars as a team sport because I think it actually is a team sport. It is more interdependent on your teammates. Whereas this, it's like you happen to meet, everybody's doing their own thing, or people are paired up and doing their dishes, but there's really no relation between the first and the fourth dish on the green team other than the color of their aprons. It's like Seinfeld said, you're kind of rooting for laundry. You're rooting for aprons.
Yep. And then we go to a farm, the Fruition Farm outside of Denver, and we had, as they said, Thor and Neptune. I thought Neptune, that guy, he kind of looked like Richard Blaze.
He also looked like the other agent with Bob Sugar and Jerry Maguire, like standing next to him when Jerry comes into the lobby after writing the memo.
I never thought you would come up with a Jerry Maguire reference on this show.
Oh, you might find others. Just give me time. I'm of the generation of Cameron Crowe fans.
So they go onto this farm. They look at some cheeses. Big fan of cheese. And they decide that they're going to have to do 4 courses. Here's the elimination challenge. 4 courses. Each of those courses in those teams, they had a green team and a blue team. The green team lost in the Quickfire, and the blue team went on. The green team and the blue team both have to create 4 dishes, which has to include 1 cheese from this farm in each of the dishes. And they pair off, and 2 people, sometimes they double up, like Joe Stash, have to create these dishes, break off in pairs, create these dishes, and present them later in the elimination challenge.
And this is in Larkspur, Colorado, which is gorgeous. And it is, I think, a little south of Denver. There was a favorite restaurant of ours in the Vail Valley is Larkspur. But I believe it no longer operates as a restaurant. But yeah, it was kind of a surprise. I think we were thinking produce. We were thinking, I think everybody had their imagined component, and it comes up cheese. And then we go from there. So then we are treated to one of the more generally contentious events in Top Chef, which is the creation of the menu, which often involves people standing in either grocery stores or at kitchen counters with pen and paper, and may the alphaist person's voice win. And then invariably the shrieking violets who are disappointed that they didn't assert themselves and get stuck with some onerous dish of not of their own making. And personalities then prevail. And then we kind of see our first dynamics of the show.
Yeah, Joe Stash. I don't know whether you call him Kobe or Russell Westbrook, but he was definitely coming in with the high usage rate, dominating the ball in those conversations, dribbling the hell out of the ball in that. And it was, you know, I think it was Chris, the Amish soul food guy, who said it best, which was like, you know, I was that guy in my 20s. You know, there's a lot of 20s in Joe Stash. Did you feel that?
As a man in his 40s, oh, I love that comment. I don't get tribal very often, but there's a certain douchebaggery you see in younger dudes.
I think you said that about me when we started working together when I was 25.
You're a little bit of a dick occasionally. But, you know, it's funny because I didn't see the mustache Joe thing in earlier episodes. You know, I just thought, he's kind of cute with his wax mustache. He's going to be harmless. He'll be a shiny, happy person holding hands. And man, you get into the heat of team play, and all of a sudden, wow, it's like, you know, it turns into Animal Farm, quite literally. And it's just funny how that doesn't really materialize until you get to interpersonal dynamics. It was very funny, like when Tom comes into the kitchen during prep, Mustache Joe's like, "Tighten up your station."
Right? What was that?
I mean, but like that's something like it's something I would totally be thinking. I might not say it to others, but it's like Jesus is coming. Look ready. And so Jesus came. And it's kind of early in that prep that we saw foreshadowing into one of what we knew might prevail as one of the big early mistakes of the show. And that would be, you know, the blue team's first course. Claudette and Adrienne are going to be teaming up.
Yikes all over that one. And those are two of my draft picks there. Adrienne and Claudette was a horrible pairing from the start because they're
two chefs we really took to personally.
Yes.
So that was sort of another source of sorrow. I think we both liked these chefs.
Right, and they start pointing fingers right away. Well, you wanted to do the cold smoked trout, but you don't know how to do it, and I got to teach you. And then you can see kind of the machinations happening in front of you where Claudette's kind of weaving this narrative of, you know, I didn't actually choose that, and, you know, this is your idea, but I'm going to do it because you told me to. And you could kind of seeing this just kind of unfurl right there.
Yeah, and I mean, cold smoking I think is a very specific technique. Basically, you gotta smoke this fish without raising the temperature above, what is it, like 75, 80 degrees or whatever it is. You know, as somebody who aspires to make lox, and one day I will make lox. I've been talking about making lox for like 30 years basically, but it's kind of intimidating. And I think either it's a technique either you know how to do or you don't know how to do. And I think the fatal error, and I suspect Claudette would not disagree, was, and we saw a little bit of the tape there, which is there was I think a collective agreement that it would be cold smoked. I think there was a common assumption, at least from Adrienne, that both knew how to cold smoke, and Claudette didn't speak up and say, hey, just so you know, not really my event. And I think not really my event could have possibly averted some major heartbreak later. Just a quick, psst, not really my event.
Before we go further, what did you think about 2 when he's tying up the knot on the lamb? What did you think about Tom walking up and saying, you know, I want to teach you how to do something, but I'm not going to do it. And then he goes ahead and does it. Would you accept if Tom Colicchio walked up to you and noticed that you were doing something that you were fumbling around with, you knew that this was an away game, Tom Colicchio offers his hand to help. Do you accept it, or like what's your game strategy there?
Oh, absolutely. If the guy running the show has a hack for me, I'm hacking away.
Oh man. See, I would might go the other way, which is like, no, Tom, like, I don't want to solicit help from the judge. I want to do this fair and square.
But what do you say? I was like, fuck out of here, man. Like, what are you supposed to say to Tom Colicchio in that situation in week 2?
I would have just said I didn't get to Boy Scouts. I'm sorry, I don't know how to tie this knot. I don't know the lamb knot.
What's kind of interesting about that moment, beyond Tom is, again, and we saw it a little bit with Adrian, and we saw it with 2, is that you don't get these people do not unfurl their entire skill sets and repertoire when we meet them, right? Like, we learned how technically sound Adrian was this week. We also learned something, and there's no shame in it, that 2 is probably more of an autodidact in terms of his cooking. I mean, he's done pop-ups. Like this guy clearly has some serious game. But by the way, that's not, it was sort of, getting that rack in order is a very specific skill, and it's not one he really has. Again, doesn't make him a crappy. I mean, by and large, chefs gravitate to the skills that best accentuate their game, and they avoid the stuff like, Tanya doesn't really do that kind of prep anymore. That's cool, but we get to see kind of where each person is strong and which shoots they're short in as well.
Yeah, I just love that from Tom. It was just like, what is 2 going to do here? I'm going to offer to help, but is he going to take it? What's he going to say? And Joe is just looking after him the whole time, just with those death eyes, just being like, oh, I'm so going down. I'm going down with 2.
I'm a 2. Look, I got a lot riding on 2. I took him with my first pick. Let me say this. I feel a little less comfortable tonight. 2 doesn't make delicious food. He's going to just kick some serious ass. But what you see is, hey, there's certain holes in his technical game, and that's fine. But you just have to hope that you don't show up at the wrong challenge, and your guy's going to be asked to do something he fundamentally can't do. And so you also feel for Mustache Joe a little bit, because he's got that skill, and he might fall because his teammate doesn't. So, but it's funny now that we're doing this as a sport, you and you start realizing that when you watch a season, what people can and can't do emerges over time. It's not something you pick up in the first challenge or the second challenge. Something will hit and they won't have it in their game, and they'll be screwed and have to improvise.
And one of the things that I think people have to keep in mind is that the first episode will show you a lot, but it doesn't show you everything. So 2 comes out guns blazing with that first Quickfire challenge, wins immunity, and then on the second one is as shaky as anyone on the episode. So you can't always project just from the first episode. And just so people, if they missed last edition of the Pack Your Knives podcast, the stat that I threw out there is that of the 13 contestants that won the first elimination challenge, 9 went on to get to the finals, and then there were 5 winners out of that. We're going to throw out season 9 because season 9 was really weird with the first elimination challenge. But basically, if you win the first elimination challenge, that's a great predictor of who's going to win or at least get very far, and that was Tyler. But Tyler in this episode was kind of just out of it. It was almost like he was, there was the precious Julia Child thing, which I'm sure you enjoyed.
Is this a good time to kind of interject about, I had a Tyler experience this week?
Yes. I want to hear about this. I haven't gotten the recap, so I guess everyone is listening to this for the first time too with me.
On Tuesday night of this week, that was 2 nights ago, we were taping this immediately after the broadcast of Bravo's Top Chef. I found myself in West Hartford, Connecticut, and strolling in on a Tuesday night to Cook and the Bear, and which is Tyler's restaurant in West Hartford that is essentially a smokehouse. I don't think it's reductive to say focuses on barbecue. Yep. And I overordered delicious romaine heads with kind of a crispy shallot and got blue cheese dressing. I got some smoked salmon deviled eggs, which were wonderful. And then I went for 2 meats. I actually went for the brisket because obviously. And
yes.
And I also got the kielbasa. Total game time decision. Just kind of felt like it would be a nice compliment.
Did it come with like a spicy mustard or something like that?
It's served with, actually what I prefer is kind of bread and butter pickles.
Yeah.
which I like the little sweetness. I think it goes really well with the savory. It's beef and pork in that sausage. And then Tyler walks in about halfway through my meal. And what a great guy. Just in his element, coming from his flagship restaurant in Simsbury. And he also comes from behind the counter and brings some of their house-cured pastrami.
Wait. So he came out with the good stuff?
The house-cured pastrami, which is wonderful. And also you forget, because I think we often all eat pastrami in the same context, which is generally between two pieces of rye bread. It's more thinly cut. This was a chunk. It's funny. It's like it's even such a greater pleasure to have a more substantial bite of it. And the meal was fantastic.
Let me ask you this. Did you broach the topic of Top Chef, or did you keep it cordial and just professional and say, this is a great meal, this is the podcast I'm doing, and really thank you for having me tonight?
Well, as I know that the show is currently on air and having worked on a reality show, I didn't want to put him in an awkward position where I had to say, hey, give us the dirt on this guy or that guy. I'd asked him the more general question, which is, hey, we proposed a question last week on Top Chef, which is,
hello, listener. It's Producer Maze here to talk to you about Quince and their cookware. Cooler nights mean cozy meals at home, and Quince's cookware has made fall cooking so much more enjoyable. Their pieces deliver the quality and performance of luxury brands, but at a price that makes sense. And they look gorgeous on the stovetop, too. No matter what item you need to complete your kitchen, Quince has you covered. With 5-ply stainless steel pots and pans, nonstick skillets, chef-quality knives, and even ceramic bakeware, which is perfect for cozy casseroles or Sunday roasts. And when you look at these prices, you might think, how is Quince doing this? How do they deliver high-quality items similar to high-end brands that are half the price? Well, let me tell you, they partner directly with ethical top-tier factories to cut out the middlemen and pass the savings on to you. And it's not just cookware. I got myself some bath sheets. That's right. When you're a tall man, you have to use bath sheets, not bath towels from Quince. It's like drying off with a cloud. It's incredible. Upgrade your kitchen for cozy fall meals with premium cookware from Quince. Go to quince.com/dings for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's QUINCE.com/dings, DINGS, to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/dings.
Listener, listen up. This is important, okay? I'm going to try to save you some money here. If you're still overpaying for wireless, it's time to say yes to saying no. At Mint Mobile, their favorite word is no. You may think like, oh, that's bad. No contracts, no monthly bills, no overages, no hidden fees, no BS. Here's why I said yes to making the switch and getting premium wireless for $15 a month. You heard that correctly. $15 per month. Ditch overpriced wireless and the jaw-dropping monthly bills. And of course, there are all these hidden fees and stuff, but at Mint Mobile, plans start at $15 per month. All the plans come with high-speed data, unlimited talk and text. You're not doing like weekend and nighttime minutes or anything like that. And it's delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. Use your own phone. Don't have to get a new phone. Use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan and bring your phone number along with all of your existing contacts. I switched months ago. People have asked, did you actually switch? Yes, I actually switched months ago. And I don't know what to do with all this extra money. I've cheated the system here. I've rigged something. This is an Ocean's 11 situation where I'm stealing wireless from Mint. That's how good a deal it is. Ready to say yes to saying no? Make the switch at mintmobile.com/dings. That's DINGS. That's mintmobile.com/dings. Upfront payment of $45 required, equivalent to $15 per month. Limited time new customer offer for first 3 months only. Speeds may slow above 35 gigabytes on unlimited plan. Taxes and fees extra. See Mint Mobile for details.
Hello, listener. It's Producer Maze here to talk to you about Kindred. Now, close your eyes like Owen Wilson during a job interview and imagine a way to travel that feels personal, comfortable, and connected without the price tags and the sterile feelings of hotels or short-term rentals. Now open your eyes and stop using your imagination because Kindred has made it very real. That's exactly what they do. Kindred is a members-only home swapping network. It's not a hotel. It's not a short-term rental. It's a smarter way to travel where each stay feels like home. Here's how it works. With Kindred, your home is your ticket. You earn credits by hosting fellow Kindred members, and then you use those credits to stay in over 220,000 homes in more than 100 cities worldwide. There are no hotel costs or rental fees, just the credits that you've earned. Every stay comes with white glove service, 24/7 trip support, and $100,000 in host protection. Make it easier for you to travel and enjoy yourself and not worry about details. I've used Kindred and I found an amazing home for a weekend getaway in an idyllic location with amazing views and great ambiance. It had everything I needed. And the best part was, it cost me $0. So apply now at livekindred.com and use code DINGS to join for free. Plus, you'll earn 5 nights of travel credit just for signing up. That's right, that's 5 whole nights for free at livekindred, KINDRED.com, code DINGS, DINGS, livekindred.com, code DINGS.
This episode is brought to you by 20th Century Studios' new film, Springsteen, Deliver Me From Nowhere, starring Golden Globe winner Jeremy Allen White and Academy Award nominee Jeremy Strong. Scott Cooper, the director of the Academy Award-winning movie Crazy Heart, brings you the story of the most pivotal chapter in the life of an icon. Springsteen, Deliver Me From Nowhere. Only in theaters October 24th. Get your tickets now.
The family that vacations together stays together. At least, that was the plan. Except now, the dastardly desk clerk is saying he can't confirm your connecting rooms.
Wait, what?
That's right, ma'am. You have rooms 201 and 709.
No, we cannot be 5 floors away from our kids.
The doors have double locks. They'll be fine.
When you want connecting rooms confirmed before you arrive, it matters where you stay.
Welcome to Hilton. I see your connecting rooms are already confirmed.
Hilton, for the stay.
When we watch this show, is it a very specific skill set that's required to advance through the show? In other words, in the scenario I offered was, if you gave these 16 chefs each 3 weeks to prepare a meal, would the order 1 through 16 be the finishing order in the show? And what Tyler said is, no, it is a very specific skill set. That there are probably some of the most talented chefs in the world might not last 2 weeks on this show. And that sort of working, it is, as we've kind of talked about, kind of almost deadline filing a story that just something certain people can do. And so, he corroborated that impression that, yeah, it is a very specialized skill that's employed on Top Chef to be able to turn this shit around in like 30 minutes or 15 minutes or overnight.
Or 8 minutes and 21 seconds.
So, by the way, the restaurant is wonderful. We heartily recommend it if you're in Central Connecticut. It is, and by the way, I think West Hartford's always struggled for some real tentpole restaurants, and I now feel like when I'm in town and I'm frequently there for work, that I have there's no question, other than obviously Frank Pepe's for my white clam pizza down in New Britain. I think Cook and Bear is kind of my place there now, and it's just a consistently good meal, and we've been there twice now.
Where did you take me that first introduced me to olive oil ice cream, or olive oil gelato? It was for dessert.
Wow, where was that? Were you in Miami?
Was it Brico? Is that the name of the restaurant? It might have been in West Hartford. I think we met it was in West Hartford, and the dessert, I'll never forget, it was an olive oil gelato. I think it was called Brico, and it was in West Hartford. And we've eaten there before.
But by the way, how great is ice cream flavors that you never would think to order in this whole movement in the last 15 years? And we saw it tonight on Top Chef.
The feta ice cream, which wow,
we'll get to that. But the lavender ice cream, the combos pizza ice cream, like I like your unsuspecting ice cream flavors. It's a thing that gets me giddy.
Pack Your Knives listeners, buying tickets to sports and concerts can be complicated and confusing, but there is a better way to buy with SeatGeek. SeatGeek is the smartest, easiest way to get tickets of every type of event. Whether you're searching for a last-minute deal, planning a night out, or need to find the perfect gift this holiday season, SeatGeek helps you find the best seats at the best prices, fully guaranteed. There's nothing quite like seeing your favorite team or musician in person, and SeatGeek will get you closer to the action for a great value. I have the SeatGeek app on my phone, and it's by far the easiest way I've found to shop for tickets. I can be anywhere, and with just a few taps, I can instantly find seats. I just recently used it to buy tickets to Trevor Noah's stand-up here in Charlotte. He's coming into town. So I went to SeatGeek, and it's great. It's designed to make your ticket buying experience easier than ever. SeatGeek saves you time and money by searching multiple ticket sites to compare and find amazing deals. And to get you the most bang for your buck, SeatGeek grades every ticket based on value to help you immediately identify the best seats that fit your budget. Plus, with every purchase, it's fully guaranteed, so you can shop for tickets on SeatGeek with confidence. Make SeatGeek your go-to app for finding the best deals on every type of ticket, from sports and concerts to comedy and theater. Best of all, my listeners get $20 off their first SeatGeek purchase. Just download the SeatGeek app and enter promo code HEALTHY today. That's promo code HEALTHY, HEALTHY, for $20 off your first SeatGeek purchase.
So anyway, we ultimately end up with this. Each of the teams does 4 dishes. We've told you about the cold smoked fish, and that was problematic. But I mean, one of the things that I thought was really cool this week is how whimsy is rewarded. There was a moment at the judges' table where Padma says of one of her, and I won't reveal it now, one of her favorite dishes was, that was just about the coolest thing ever. And I like when chefs are awarded for thinking up something that is just, upon review, the coolest thing ever. Just kind of essentially inventing something. And I was really happy to see those who were awarded this week kind of went with things that were just so ridiculously whimsical and well executed. Just
that was Tanya and Chris with the feta ice cream.
Right, and that was, I think, what she said. That was just, they decided they were going to do their beignets, which they just ended up calling fried dough, as the dessert, with a sheet milk's feta ice cream and a chocolate ganache. And the sheet milk's feta ice cream, they have to incorporate the cheese, which in a dessert is, traditionally you just kind of put it in with the tart. Sure. I mean, you can always work in cheese. But they're like, no, fuck it. Let's go and make it an ice cream out of this cheese, which is a really high degree of difficulty thing to do. By the way, I mean, that could turn out any which way. I've had some of those ice cream flavors that I think I liked that when they couldn't really pull it off. And it worked.
I was stunned to see Padma coming out with the hyperbole right out from the gate on episode 2 of this season, saying it was the favorite dessert, might have been the favorite dessert ever on Top Chef that she's ever had. So that was incredible to see. And I thought that they were...
She is not a lady who traffics in hyperbole.
No, she is not. And in that, I thought one of those two were going to win. I thought Chris or Tanya, each of those had as good a shot as anybody to win tonight's episode. Someone who didn't have a shot to win was Rogelio. Rogelio with the lamb loin. I feel like you can't really screw up a lamb loin.
My question, and I haven't worked with a sous vide machine yet. Our friend Ethan Strauss has gotten one in the last week or two and is obsessed with his sous vide machine.
Yep.
I got a steam oven in this house, so I probably won't get a sous vide machine. But I thought the whole point of sous vide was that it cooks the meat evenly.
Yeah.
Where, you cut it over there, and it's rare, and it's well done over here. What is the point of doing sous vide for 2.5 hours if, indeed, it ain't going to be evenly cooked?
Yeah, that was really ugly. And he was the one who looked like the expert compared to 2 preparing that lamb. Remember that? 2 is a total mess, and then Tom goes over to check in on Rogelio, and Rogelio's got this. I mean, he's got it all figured out. And then it was the total opposite, is that 2 actually was safe, and Rogelio, I thought, had a real chance to get eliminated.
Both lamb chefs were very sheepish today, and by the way, Rogelio, yeah, there's my dad humor.
There's your Tom Colicchio moment, yeah.
He kind of committed one of the cardinal sins. Don't argue with the judges about how their meat was cooked.
I know.
If Tom thinks it's rare, it's rare. You can't argue with the refs.
Yeah.
You can't go DeMarcus Cousins. You can't go Chris Paul and constantly plead.
It's not going to win you points, right? And the other thing is, I saw in the Last Chance Kitchen episode from last week, Leanne Wong did the same thing to Tom, where Leanne said, Tom said, "Oh, it wasn't seasoned. Your dish wasn't seasoned." And she was like, "I think you should go back and try it again." And he's like, "No, I'm good."
Well, let's talk about real quick, just kind of divert for Last Chance Chicken from last week, because it will essentially affect our contest. Is Melissa had been eliminated last week. She joins the 3 surviving previous chefs, right? That's Marcel, Leanne, and everybody's favorite Kwame. And as they often do in Last Chance, which I imagine it being like purgatory when you die. It's like when you're in purgatory, you have to actually take on your biggest failure in life, because they always make the challenge what the person screwed up on the previous week or how they got eliminated. So it's potatoes, right?
Yep.
Or Melissa. So they got to make a dish out of potatoes.
And Melissa, as a seafood chef, screwed up the salmon. She overcooked the salmon, which is a cardinal sin. I cannot eat dry salmon. I will eat salmon sashimi 1,000 times if it's a steak. If it's a salmon steak on my plate and it's supposed to be cooked, I'm taking the sashimi way over the overcooked salmon.
I've gotten to the point in restaurants where if it's going to be a thicker cut, I just say, hey, just really, really rare, like sashimi rare in the middle. Because I mean, salmon is the variance between like really good salmon and salmon that is just 1 second overcooked is enormous. Marcel wins the Last Chance Kitchen for
French fries.
It was actually further evidence that Tom loves rewarding mastery of the simple.
Yes.
You take a French fries and you just crush it. He will reward you for having, ironically, like the guts to do something that is such a staple, so familiar, but if you execute it perfectly, you will be rewarded.
How much did that win arise from the fact that he used liquid nitrogen to cook his French fries?
Well, he mentioned that, and it is something that every once in a while you'll hear chefs talk about, like there are certain foods where like freezing them first and then
frying them. Yeah.
Which chef did I talk to? Or I love their pea puree or pea dish, and he's like, "You want to know the secret?" And he's like, "Yeah, I freeze the peas." I was like, "Really?" You blanch, then freeze, and then do your thing. And I was shocked because, like, frozen food to me has this stigma. Like, the minute you freeze something, it's kind of just like you can use it again, but it's never going to truly be its essence.
I want to ask you about this. So Marcel won that dish. He moves on. I don't think we have any scoring for that, so we'll just move on from that. But I wanted to ask you, who had the best zinger of the day? Was it Fatima, who said that, of course, Joe is going to cut the cheese because he's a big guy? That was a good zinger. There was also Tom Colicchio with the he's not flogging around. Was that what the line was?
There's a lot of like kind of dad humor, which I can certainly.
They weren't flogging around here, I think is what it was. And I'm going to give Fatima the nod on that one for the best zinger.
So we get to the presentation of the dishes. And so the cold smoke disaster was indeed Adrienne and Claudette's first dish. The green team sent out Fatima and Laura with a dish that it was a huge hit: cheese and crackers. And this is one of my favorite moments of the week. So Laura, was she a bottom 3 last week, or was she? She had one of the. Yeah, I think she had a rough first week.
Yeah.
We picked her toward the bottom of the draft. And in the alpha show that was Mustache Joe, she'd really wanted to. She's a pastry chef by training, and she had wanted to. I think really had wanted to do dessert, but assignments got scooped up, and she gets stuck doing something, and I think was very disappointed about it. So what was really cool about her success, she nailed the cheese and crackers along with Fatima's, and she used the rind of the cheese in the cracker, which the chef just thought was the greatest thing ever. But I love that she got boxed out of doing dessert, and yet ended up getting to use her baking skills in the appetizer with the cracker and getting a huge applause from everybody for doing so. So it was just kind of after she kind of got boxed out by this big swinging dick, and then, but ends up getting to revel in her best skills and getting to show them.
That was really cool. And I always get nervous when they do a little bio in the first couple episodes, because it always makes me feel like, oh, they're going home. Like when they're trying to fill in a little bio into the story. And I feel like Laura was getting a lot of the bios in the first couple episodes. But I think just because she has such a unique background that I was maybe reading too much into it, but I felt that with Claudette when they're having the discussion about the car and her kid and how old she was. And then I felt that with Rogelio too. And I was like, oh no, one of these two is getting voted off. And of course, one of them does.
Oh, see, I always think it's possibly a situation where they're giving you bio because you're going to be hanging around with this person for several weeks and they need to start filling in and giving you as much context and making sure you're invested in their success.
Oh, you know what? You're right. It could go both ways.
I always assume that they're not going to waste our time with this person's story if they're going to bump them off this way. So then there's a pasta course. Both teams crushed it. I think these might have been two of their favorite courses today. Joe and Bruce, couple of bears. They nail the beat and Alati, and I think we're going to see a shit ton of pasta from Bruce. It seems like he is really good at it. And then the ricotta dumplings, Mustache Joe, but Carrie, I think, did most of the heavy lifting, and she won the week. She wins the week. All the ricotta dumplings. And they did a very smart thing. They did the whey sauce on the bottom, and whey is just this goop or liquid, essentially, that I think that falls off during cheese making and stuff. So they kind of really cheesed it up with, hey, we're going to do the whey sauce underneath. And Carrie just nails it. And the proportions are great between the filling and the dumpling. Everybody's happy. She's an inordinately likable person, very clearly.
She is, and I got nervous there when Tom asked her the question, why did you only see her one side? Why did you only saute one side? And she answered it strong, confident. You got to do that. Come out with a strong, confident, this is why I did that. And Tom said, you know what? I love that. That's why I'm glad she only seared one side.
And by the way, I like when Tom throws that curveball. When he sort of is the stern, like, English schoolmaster in the movie, and then it turns out he's just this loving guy at the end who opens his heart, and that's that was cool. Carrie's a inordinately likable person. I'm hoping she hangs around. I know she is on your fantasy team, but I was very happy for the win.
She gets a plus 20 for being 10 for being in the top, 10 for being the winner. And she was the 16th pick in our draft. We drafted 18 people, and Carrie was one of the last people to be drafted. And she came out really strong with the dumpling dish. I thought a couple other people deserved to win, were just as deserving to win. But Carrie comes out with the W. I was surprised that Chris and Tanya didn't get the nod there.
Right. They That was, I mean, hey, it was her favorite. It was Padma's favorite dessert ever in the history of 15 seasons of Top Chef. The other Brother Luck did the other dessert. I seemed to do pretty well. The blueberry tart with whipped ricotta, and obviously the lambs were the big losers. And this dish isn't finished, says Tom, of the seared lamb with corn grits. And apparently the sweet corn pudding was too sweet, and that was Mustache Joe. Interesting that Mustache Joe had his finger in a lot of little different dishes, and had he had his way, would have railroaded the fried dough / beignet / sheep milk feta ice cream dish until Chris basically just told him to fuck off. And he was doing chocolate ganache, even though it seemed that Mustache Joe was not interested.
Kevin, who are you in the menu making? Are you the guy off the ball waiting for his shot and then just nails it, just getting your feet set and nailing it? Or are you the guy dribbling the ball up the court, pointing everyone around where they need to go? Or are you the guy waiting for the pass and you're creating off the ball, just waiting for that moment, and then you're going to go to work?
Not an ENTJ. You are an ENTJ. You are more extroverted than I am. I tend not to want to, like, I am a control freak. What I want is to know that you tell me which dish you want me to do, but when you assign it to me, don't fuck with me. Like that's me is, hey, you guys decide the theme, which cheese is going with which thing, but just give me my dish and let me go off and do my dish. And I will do it. I will do you well, but just trust me and don't meddle and don't, you don't fuck with the program. Just give me my thing. And I'll throw out a couple suggestions, right? Like I'll be like, hey, if you decide you want a pasta dish, let me know.
And that's why you're a great friend, great colleague. It's because you're not going to dominate the ball, but when you get the ball, you are going to nail it. And that's like James Harden, OKC, where it's like he's not the number one guy, but you can clearly see that he is just a superstar.
But I want an ENTJ in charge of the whole thing, right? Like that would be like my ENTJs in my life, you, Henry Abbott. Who else is an ENTJ in my life? I forget else. You two are the two ENTJs I know.
Yeah, is Joe that guy? Joe
Zimmerman,
Stash?
who is a rabbi in San Francisco. She is an ENTJ.
It was interesting to see. I mean, I think did you feel like we drafted well in terms of figuring out who's really good after 2 episodes? Do you think our draft looks similar, or do you think it?
Well, I mean, look at this. So to David Fu, who basically goes home this week, if not for wearing a green apron. He was my number 1 pick, number 2 overall. He would have been home. Fatima showed well, and we're going to see more of Fatima. Her arc really, it was team play this week, and she helped execute a really good dish. Tyler's showing a lot of variance. I mean, I think what he's got the big win. He's got a bottom 3 quickfire and a bottom.
He was in the bottom tonight. Yeah, technically, I think if you go to Wikipedia right now, they've got him in the low, Rogelio in the low, and Adrian in the low, which I think that's tough. Putting Adrian.
That's crazy that somebody already updated that Wikipedia grid, and it's not us.
That's amazing.
I mean, whoever that person is should be on this show. If you were out there, person who updates the Top Chef Wikipedia page grid the second the show is over,
we want to talk to you.
Reach out. We want to know you. Joe Flam. By the way, I'll tell you, if you had to ask me right now among my team, I had to basically ditch everybody but one person. Joe Flam.
Yeah, he's strong. He's strong.
I mean, I like Fatima. I'm there with Fatima. I'm still with Fatima. Joe Flam to me just seems like he plays error-free ball, and I'm going to say this every week. I mean, the guy hasn't made a mistake.
No.
He doesn't make mistakes. He doesn't.
It's really strong. He hasn't been in the bottom 3, top 3, bottom 3. He won the quickfire, of course, today. But you're right. I mean, he is strong as anybody in this competition. So your team, to recap for those who didn't get a chance to listen, you got 2, Fatima, Joe Flam, not the mustache Joe, Amish soul food guy, Chris, Tanya, Brother Luck, Laura, Leanne, and Melissa, who went home last week. My team is Tyler, Bruce, Claudette, Joe Stash, Rogelio, Adrian, Kwame, Carrie, and Marcel. I'm feeling pretty strong about Joe Flam too. Great character, really skilled. Also, I think he might have followed Pack Your Knives on Twitter, which is always getting bonus points there. I don't think you really have a weak spot because I think, too, obviously you saw a lot of talent out of him coming out of the gate. So even though he had a tough time, I think you just have a really strong roster.
Yeah, and I'm just so excited about Laura Cole. Again, she kind of gets boxed out of doing what she wants to do. She ends up with an appetizer, employs her baking skills. Like, so it's just like she had, she didn't win this week, but I think it was a huge thing for her. And I think, confidence builder. I'm feeling it. Brother Luck had a very, had a good week in the quickfire. I'm liking my team, and you've got some big personalities. Bruce, by the way, can clearly freaking. I mean, that's going to be your steal.
Yeah, you know what though? I'm feeling Adrian. I'm buying low on Adrian. She was in the bottom 3 in both elimination challenges in the first 2 episodes, but man, I feel good about her.
She first of all, had she had a partner who could have cold smoked, I don't even think this is an issue. They love the other components that basically she was responsible for. I don't think I'm actually in some way. By the way, after week 4, we might want to propose trade. You want to put the trade machine on in week 4, week 5. We'll revisit that in the coming weeks if we want to. Red Rover, send somebody over.
So Claudette gets sent home. Pack your knives and go for Claudette. It was emotional. She cracked up a little bit. I think of all the chefs, she has definitely the highest CER, cuss efficiency rating. She had a bleep every 3 words, it felt like.
How did you feel like do you feel like she kind of sort of threw Adrian under the bus?
Yes, and I think it was in a little bit of a self-preservation method there. I thought that was really what she was trying to do, is she knew that she was going to go home unless she kind of pinned it on Adrian a little bit. You see this a lot on the show, right, Kevin? You see it a lot where it's like, I know I didn't execute that dish, but that's because I got a bad game plan. They drew up a bad play for me, and they should have known that I can't do that. I'm a seafood chef, and they made me make a a salad, whatever it is, you got to know my game. And I think that's what she was doing, was a last-ditch effort to kind of put some of the blame on Adrian, even though Adrian, I felt like, really shined as a teacher, holding her hand in those moments.
By the way, I was impressed about how composed she was, because clearly kind of bemused that there was an agreed-upon dish that required cold smoking, and only to learn far too late in the day that her partner couldn't cold smoke.
Yeah.
At least the video we saw seemed like Adrian was. And by the way, Adrian could have also countered at the judges' table, and she didn't. I kind of like the way Adrian handled it all around, and I have great sympathy for Claudette, too, who's... I liked it. By the way, I was kind of excited to see some of her cooking. And... Yeah. So I'm a little disappointed there, but I thought she got a little bit desperate in terms of the assignment of blame. It could have been worse, but it could have been better.
Yeah, I can't really blame her there, only because I think she knew it was going down, and she was the last ditch effort of like, you know what, I got to figure out a way to defend myself here. But I think Adrian. That was tough to see her in the bottom there, because I really thought she shined in that episode. I thought she did well. But this is a tough loss for me. She was my third pick, Kevin. I went with Tyler off the top, Bruce, and then Claudette. And she goes out. This is striking a line through her name. This is kind of painful right now, Kevin.
Yeah, I think what we're learning is we don't know shit right now. I think that's what we learned today. We don't know shit. Our draft board is, we could do a redraft in week 7 and the game look nothing like the list I'm looking at right now. We don't know shit. I just still feel like with Joe Flam, I got the steal of the draft.
So even though Joe Flam didn't get in the top on the elimination challenge, I think he's a star. I think he's the biggest. I think he's the biggest, I guess, not a buy low candidate, but a guy who's overachieving at this point.
He's the big fundamental.
A big fundamental. I like. You know what? He actually tweeted at us that he was like Tim Duncan. He made a reference to Tim Duncan.
I
on
made
Twitter.
that reference last week, I think.
Yeah.
He's the big fundamental. I'm telling you, he's going to play error-free ball, and I'm convinced of this. Now, will he come up with the that is just about the coolest thing ever idea? Maybe, maybe not. We'll see. I bet he's got more creativity than he's often allowed to have in his place. But this is mistake-free ball. Any closing remarks as we finish up the third episode of Leverage the Chat's Pack Your Knives?
Let's see here. I'm just kind of going through my.
We got a sudden death quickfire next week.
Do we really? Oh, was that on the teaser for next week?
So if I heard correctly, we have a sudden death. Now sometimes they do that, and then you can grovel your way back or something. There's always some little wrinkle, but Padma seemed to announce a sudden death quickfire.
Yeah, definitely. I'm gonna have to study up on this, Kevin. I don't know what I'm gonna do. And also, there's this little conspiracy theory I have here. Did you notice a certain someone was lurking at Last Chance Kitchen?
Did I notice a certain someone, Jen Carroll?
Yes. Are they gonna sit there the whole time?
I always think that must be the most thankless thing ever. Is you get eliminated early from Last Chance, and you're basically detained as a spectator for the next several weeks.
I'd love to have Jen on just to ask what that feels like. It's just to linger around for however many weeks it is. I mean, that's got to be tough. Dish that you wanted to eat the most. We should do this every week. Dish that you saw that you just wanted to get. Like it was on the menu, and man, I am ordering that.
And I think Bruce Kalman's frequently going to be the answer to this question, because I love beets, and though I try to avoid pasta for my figure, the beef enchilada, I mean, that looked fucking.
I wish the corn grits with the lamb chops and the cheese, I wish that was a little bit better. I wish it was a little bit better, because I would have ordered that. That had my name written all over it. As a Greek myself, anytime lamb is one of those things that if it's on the menu, I'm just like, you know what? I'm thinking about that. That is, my eyes are drawn to mushrooms, truffle, lamb. I'm trying to think of what else is on my power rankings of if it's on the menu, I'm ordering it. Lamb is way up there on the list. So I was kind of disappointed in this episode because they really just blew it on the lamb. It was a shit episode on lamb.
When you were in Los Angeles and have a free lunch next time, got to go to Papa Christos. That's where I take all my Greeks.
We've been there. Is it by USC? Yeah. And we over-ordered. Can you believe
That's
it?
right. We got. I remember where we're sitting now. I do remember. We got the Octopodakia.
Yeah, we ordered we ordered like a huge, almost like medieval table, like worth of food. Like it was like we had so much food on our plate. It was almost people were walking by like, where's the 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th people on this table? It was just you and me.
They do a real family dinner on Thursday nights. I might do my birthday this year there. It's kind of a
Kevin, I think I'm going to see you next week. Let's try to do something cool for Pack Your Knives.
We will definitely do that. And until next week, enjoy Last Chance, and we'll be back next. We don't know when exactly these drop, but following Top Chef episode 3, we will have Pack Your Knives episode 4.
Yeah, and check out the Pack Your Knives Twitter. We'll probably be posting some of the scorecard from tonight. We got to discuss the scoring or just review it. And then we'll post that as well as some analytics. I'll leave you with this little fact that I figured out today before we came on the show. And I just did all this work, so I can't just waste it. Of the 43 contestants who finished in the top 3 in the first elimination challenge, which was last week, 43 contestants in Top Chef history, only 9 repeated in the second elimination challenge, being in the top 3. Think about that. 9 out of the 43 that were in the top 3 in the first elimination challenge did it again in the second elimination challenge, and only 1 person repeated, and that was Angelo in season 8, who finished 7th.
Shockingly few. I mean,
right?
Shockingly few. Only because that's a lot of. I mean, by and large, if you're a top 3 person in the first elimination, the idea is okay, you've got skills. You've
got the skill for Top Chef because you came in just totally cold turkey and you figured it out. And then in the second episode, only 9 out of the 43, which is 1 out of 5.
Does that mean there's a negative correlation between finishing in the top 3 first and second? Like, are you actually more likely if you finished outside?
That's a good question. I have to look at that because it's got to be pretty close. And I think the last episode of this podcast I kind of brought up is maybe the chefs kind of feel like they don't want to give that hot hand. Like they don't want to just have a teacher's pet out there, like a favorite. Like if you win the first elimination challenge, they don't want to be like, we got to spread the wealth. So I kind of feel like there might be a little bit of judge bias there. But of the 9 who finished in the top 3 in the first 2 episodes, of the 9 contestants that have done that, there have been 2 winners. May in season 12 and Richard Blaze in season 8. Both finished in the top 3 in the first 2 episodes. And there were also, of that 9, there were 2 runner-ups, Amar in season 13 and Gregory in season 12. So both of those guys got to the finals. So that means 4 out of the 9 that got in the highs on both episodes ended up being in the final. So there is no one who did that in this season. There's no one who's finished. Well, actually, sorry. Christopher and Fatima both have been in the high, both of your people. Neither of them have won, but both of them finished high top 3 in both episodes. So Christopher and Fatima and Joe Flam, man, you're looking really good right now, Kevin.
Tom, I will see you next week.
All right, buddy.
This is Pack Your Knives.